The SCP Foundation is a fictional secret organization created by individuals on the internet in 2008 and based around the collaborative writing wiki project of the same name. The term SCP itself is an acronym for the phrase Secure, Contain, Protect. The SCP Foundation website has built an extensive shared universe over the years with the help of countless authors. In-universe, the Foundation is a secret society of sorts responsible for capturing and containing various paranormal, supernatural, and other mysterious phenomena unexplained by mainstream science. Being a collaborative writing project, the real-world website is community-based and includes elements of many genres such as horror, science fiction, and urban fantasy. The fan-made works of the SCP Foundation site take the form of files, confidential reports, interviews, short stories, images, and even audio recordings on occasion. Like with many other community-run sites, there is an on-site rating system on each SCP page for users to upvote or downvote. With introductions out of the way, join me as I explain the highest-rated SCPs of all time. Item Number: SCP-173. Object Class: Euclid. This means not extremely dangerous at all times, but highly unpredictable. Rating: 7,090 upvotes. Post date: July 25, 2008 at 4:49 p.m. Author: Lieutenant Mazapag. SCP-173 is a large concrete and rebar statue that has a vaguely human frame. It is said to have an unsettling face spray-painted on its head. Real-world note: the description of this SCP was originally based off of an image created by an artist by the name of Izumi Kato, who graciously allowed the image's use on the SCP Foundation site for years. However, in February 2022, SCP site admins decided to remove images of SCP-173 in respect of Izumi's copyright. The entry on site is currently imageless and will remain that way. This complicates the description slightly, as it is said to be in the eyes of the reader now. So just imagine a human-like, yellowed concrete statue with rebar sticking out. The face is spray-painted with elements such as blood-red smears, black markings, and bulbous green eyes. This mysterious statue was moved to SCP Site-19 in 1993, and its origins are as of yet unknown. What is known, however, is that SCP-173 is extremely hostile under specific circumstances. When in the vicinity of 173, a direct line of sight must be kept on it at all times. If sight is not maintained, 173 will somehow move within close distance of nearby humans and end their lives via a neck break or strangulation. As long as it is being watched, 173 appears to stand still, facing the walls of its containment area. This containment area is a small locked container which cannot be entered by less than 3 SCP personnel at a time, to ensure line of sight is maintained. Note that blinking does count as a break in line of sight, making staff communication essential. It is said that the container has a reddish-brown substance smeared on the floor, which is a combination of fecal matter and blood. The origins of this mixture are unknown, and despite a bi-weekly container cleaning, the substance always reappears. When SCP-173 is alone in its container, the sound of scraping stone can be heard from within, but this is considered normal by SCP personnel. If the sounds were to stop, a supervisor should be notified. Item Number: SCP-2521, also known as Object Class: Keter. This means actively hostile and difficult or impossible to contain. Rating: 5,183 upvotes. Post date: July 24th, 2015 at 3:00 a.m. Author: Lurk D. SCP-2521 is a large, insidious-looking creature. It stands twice the height of a normal human, with a body covered entirely in sticky, black tendrils that look almost like ribbons. It is unknown if these tendrils are the actual body of 2521, or just a superficial covering. All of the information on the site page for SCP-2521 is conveyed in pictograms, as this SCP is said to steal any and all information spoken or written about it. This means if a person were to write information about 2521 on paper, the SCP would find the paper and take it away. If a person were to speak of 2521, the SCP would find them and envelop them in its tendrils, abducting them. For some reason, this SCP is unable to understand information conveyed using pictures, signs, graphs, etc., as long as language is not used. The information on 2521 is not to be shared with any personnel below level 4, assumedly due to the SCP being both dangerous and uncontained. Attempting to contain SCP-2521 in a single location is futile, as it can travel straight through solid objects such as walls as it pleases. The origins of this mysterious creature are not conveyed on its main SCP page. However, it is speculated by some SCP users that SCP-2521 may have come from SCP-1346-1, a room behind an inconspicuous door at the end of a corridor known as SCP-1346, which is located in an abandoned, unnamed research and engineering center. Without digressing from 2521 too much, SCP-1346 is a seemingly normal hallway at first glance. However, venturing towards the aforementioned door will lead to the malfunctioning of electronic devices and the manifestation of mechanical sounds with no source. Eventually, any personnel approaching the door will be overwhelmed with terror, causing them to turn back and flee 1346. In the SCP Foundation tale, known as Please Say My Name, SCP-2521 is depicted as a sympathetic creature. It knows not of its origins, which saddens it greatly. This leads 2521 on a hunt to find all information about itself. As such, it is said that this creature's behavior pertaining to stealing information is not evil or malicious, but rooted in a desire to know itself. Item Number: SCP-J. No number is written. Object Class: Blank. No class is written. Rating: 4,102 upvotes. Post date: January 12, 2012 at 7:13 p.m. Author: Communism Will Win. There isn't much to the page for this SCP. The gimmick is, this unnumbered SCP is a rock that makes anyone around it procrastinate. As such, the doctor currently studying the rock is too lazy to fill out information on it, and simply keeps it in a box in their office. The doctor does note that the SCP may be mimetic. This means it causes a response that is rooted in ideas and symbols, rather than projecting physical phenomena such as auras or the like. In the words of Dr. Vang at the end of the report, "I'll finish writing this up later." Item Number: SCP-049. Object Class: Euclid. Rating: 3,996 upvotes. Post date: December 10th, 2009 at 7:37 a.m. Author: Gabriel Jade. SCP-049 is a humanoid entity, roughly 1.9 meters in height, that resembles a medieval plague doctor. However, though 049 appears to be wearing plague doctor garments such as a long black gown and white ceramic mask, these features seem to have grown out of the SCP's body over time. Whatever form lies beneath this biological clothing is now impossible to discern, though X-rays do show a somewhat humanoid skeletal structure. 049 is sentient and said to communicate in several human languages, preferring English and medieval French. SCP-049 is currently in SCP Foundation custody and generally cooperative and polite with SCP personnel. However, it should be noted that it can become agitated and outright aggressive if it feels it is in the presence of some unknown disease it calls the pestilence. The exact nature of what this pestilence is currently unknown. Various interviews have been conducted with 049 to understand its motives, but all have led to agitation of the SCP and/or no understanding. When SCP-049 becomes hostile due to the perceived presence of the pestilence, it will often take the lives of nearby humans it deems infected. This is done simply by touching them. After this, 049 will often perform crude surgeries on the deceased and somehow reanimate them into mindless, zombie-like creatures. Any living being reanimated by 049 is designated by the Foundation as an SCP-049-2 instance. This reanimation process is not always successful, but when it is, 049 considers the reanimated creature to be cured. This SCP is also capable of performing reanimation surgeries on animal corpses given to it by SCP staff. SCP-049 was first discovered during an investigation of a series of unknown disappearances in a town in southern France. During the raid of a local home, investigators discovered 049 as well as several instances of SCP-049-2. After all 049-2 instances were destroyed, 049 willingly went into the custody of the SCP Foundation. As I previously mentioned, 049 has participated in many interviews with Foundation doctors, who still seek to determine what the pestilence is, and why 049 believes its reanimation is a cure. This led to increased agitation of 049 over time, and eventually, SCP-049 attacked and reanimated the doctor leading the research and supervision of it. After this incident, the SCP was no longer provided with animal corpses for study and was contained strictly as a hostile entity. Real-world note: this is one of the more extensively written SCPs in the top-rated list, and I highly recommend checking it out for yourself. There is much more to discover. Item Number: SCP-055. Object Class: Keter. Rating: 3,464 upvotes. Post Date: July 25th, 2008 at 11:59 a.m. Author: X the Vile Corruptor. SCP-055 is described as being a self-keeping secret or anti-meme. As such, all information pertaining to its appearance, nature, behavior, and origins is self-classifying and unknown. Essentially, the SCP Foundation has no idea where 055 came from, when it was obtained, who obtained it, and what exactly it looks like. Note that 055 is not indescribable or invisible. It simply makes all those who see it forget about it shortly after. Even if notes are taken, pictures are drawn, or recordings are taken, no one can describe this SCP. It is said that all information pertaining to 055 simply leaks out of the human mind. An example is how security personnel watching 055 on 24-hour television cameras emerge from their shift exhausted and amnesiac about their entire time working. All SCP staff at Site-19 where SCP-055 is contained claim to have no memory of who authorized the construction of 055's containment room, why it was made the way it was, or what the purpose of any containment procedures are. Despite the container being easily accessible, all personnel on site claim no knowledge of 055's existence when challenged. This nature of forgetfulness leads to the repeated rediscovery of facts pertaining to SCP-055 as personnel happen across its Foundation files. This leads to brief panic, which fades quite quickly. There is apparently a multitude of data collected pertaining to the study of 055, but none of it can be interpreted, as no one knows the SCP or data exists for more than a couple of minutes at a time. The only reason 055's entry even exists in Foundation databases is due to the fact that describing it in a negative manner does not lead to forgetfulness. In other words, using negations of fact allows a person to speak of 055 without much issue. An interview between Foundation Dr. Hughes and an unknown staff member demonstrated this concept. In the interview, the doctor and individual used the fact that SCP-055 isn't a sphere to remind themselves of its existence, as they attempt to learn more about it. However, this process still takes its toll as memory must be repeatedly rejogged. One member of the SCP staff believes that SCP-055 may be a remotely controlled agent and was never actually acquired by the Foundation, but instead was planted at Site-19 by an unidentified party. This could have been done to silently observe or interfere with Foundation activities, or something even more insidious. It is noted in 055's documentation that it could have taken the lives of hundreds of SCP staff for all anyone knows, but due to memory leaks, there is no way to tell for sure. Item Number: SCP-096. Object Class: Euclid. Rating: 3,349 upvotes. Post Date: March 17th, 2010 at 2:46 p.m. Author: Dr. Dan. SCP-096 is a humanoid creature measuring about 2.38 meters in height. The creature has very little muscle mass, appearing gaunt. Analysis of body mass suggests that 096 is mildly malnourished, which may explain its appearance. The arms of this SCP are grossly disproportionate to the rest of its body, with each being 1.5 meters long. Both 096's skin and eyes are pale and lacking pigmentation. It is noted that 096 has a jaw that can open to 4 times that of an average human jaw. Facial features excluding the jaw and eyes remain similar to that of a human. Despite its humanoid appearance, 096 shows no evidence of higher brain function and is not considered to be sapient. SCP-096 is normally highly docile, choosing to spend most of its time pacing the wall of its airtight steel containment cell. However, there is a catch. When someone views 096's face, whether it be directly, via video recording, or even via a photograph, 096 will enter a phase of intense emotional distress. It will quickly cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, and ranting incoherently. About 1 to 2 minutes after its face is viewed, 096 will begin running to the person who viewed its face, who is then designated as SCP-096-1. Documented speeds of SCP-096 have varied from 35 km per hour to
redacted
km per hour, and the true speed seems to depend on the distance to SCP-096-1. It is said that nothing at this point can stop 096 from reaching 096-1, and the SCP somehow will always know where 096-1 is. Once 096 reaches the location of 096-1, the creature will take the life of 096-1 and
data expunged
096-1. 100% of all cases have left no trace of 096-1. After achieving this end, 096 will sit for several minutes before regaining its composure. It will then attempt to make its way back to its natural habitat, which is not disclosed in the SCP database. SCP-096 is considered an alpha priority by the Foundation, as a mass chain reaction and loss of civilian life could occur if the SCP is seen. At some point, an undisclosed doctor at the Foundation petitioned to destroy 096, which was attempted but seemingly failed. There has been one interview pertaining to 096 and one incident report pertaining to its attempted elimination, which can be both viewed on the Foundation website. Alright everyone, that about does it for now. You now know a bit about the top 6 rated SCPs of all time on the SCP Foundation website. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and be sure to subscribe. I'd love to detail more of the highest rated SCPs, as the list of popular ones is very, very long. Until then, Noodles Night Train, signing off.